Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another session of our Disciple, where we come together to discuss the Word of God. I have myself, Rosalind White, James Rayner. We have Keisha Person with us on audio. Myself, Jerome White. We are all members of Jesus Peace Ministries, where our pastor is Apostle Dr. James W. McGrady Jr. Saturday mornings, we come just to discuss the Word, give different insights and different things. Viewpoints, some of our experiences of how God has done things in our lives and our different perspectives on what He said in His Word. Again, on Sunday mornings, if you have time available, you can catch a preach word if you go to JesusPeaceMinistries.org, 10 a.m. Sunday mornings. But today, discuss the Word, and we're going to open up in a new area. We completed our area where we were talking about women that were used in the Bible. Again, we couldn't discuss all the women, but just wanted to bring back into perspective what God had called and created in the beginning in them, and gave them dominion, he and she, male and to do the work. So I wanted to tell the thought that the role of the woman when it comes to ministry, where some still believe that women shouldn't be preachers or leaders, because uses each of us to do a specific work. But as we move forward, we're just going to now look in different areas within the scripture and different situations or circumstances. Just open up and have dialogue and discussions about things. I think, Rosalind, you said you had a point or an area you wanted to go into.
Yeah, we were mentioning how Jesus used different individuals in the Bible and some of their struggles and adversity they went through, but they still fulfilled His purpose. And well, good morning, everyone. Before I start talking, I apologize. Good morning. But I wanted to start with Joseph. And I know that when I sent in the note, started with when he was in prison, but you have to go back and peel the onion, as they say, because he went through a lot before he was even thrown in prison. With the first instance, he was betrayed by his brothers, and that's in starting out in Genesis 37 and 18. If we want to start there.
You said 37 and 18.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go back a little further than that, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay. Um, let's go back. Let's just start at 37 and 1. And that way
Okay.
we can start that verse and the whole background. And it says, and Joseph dwelt in the land. Or do you want to read?
It doesn't matter. You want me to read 1 through what?
I don't know. Let me read and then we'll just and then Joseph dwelt and Jacob dwelt in the land where his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. And it's amazing. Well, in that first verse, what do y'all see as you know of some of the things that transpire later on? When you hear this first verse, it says, Jacob dwelt in a land where in his father was a stranger in the land of Canaan. Anybody got any thoughts on that area? No? Okay. When they come out of bondage, where do they go back to? Okay, we keep going. Okay, verse 2. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Okay, now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. Okay, anything in those couple of verses that jumps out to y'all?
Well, on the verse that you just read, the 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 2 and 3 is telling me that Joseph was deeply loved by his father. That's why he gave him the coat of arms, and also that's going to lead into why his brothers. One of the reasons I'm assuming why his brothers hated him so much, and also Israel loved Joseph as well.
Okay. Now, Roz, I'm gonna need you to work with me now. When you say Israel, who we talking about?
You say what now?
When you say Israel, okay, and this is the thing that we have to keep up with when and we probably have to go a little further back to understand this. Jacob is the given name of the son born unto Isaac. Isaac's son is Jacob. So when I was reading the first verse and I said this the generations, and we were talking about the land of his father, it's the land that Isaac brought Jacob into, but it's the land of Canaan. But this is also they come back to when they come out of bondage. But the first verse also says, this was a place where his father was a stranger. And when God talked to Abraham, he said, your children will be in a strange land. So there's a lot of strange lands out there. And there was even a land when they were in Egypt, where they were in bondage. So it is, and this probably be another study to go into now, when we're talking about a strange land where you're in bondage. But also, when Jacob was dealing and wrestling with God, okay, and again, Jacob is the name that Isaac gave him. God changed his name to Israel. So when God looks at Jacob as Israel, even though sometimes in the scripture it says, yeah, well, this is also the son of Israel. Yeah, okay, but it's the son of Jacob. But you got to look at the perspective. Are we now looking at it from the spiritual point where God has now named Jacob Israel and now told him the things that would transpire through his loins? Again, the promise came to Abraham, you be a father of many nations. Isaac carried that on. And now we're going to get into Jacob, and all of his children now becomes the Israelites. Once they come out of bondage, they're all given different areas of portions of territory, of land, as they come into the land. At that point, or to come, that the promise is flowing with milk and honey. So they're in a land now, Canaan, same land, where they're just known as a stranger. But when they come back, it's now going to be a land now flowing with milk and honey. Where we are now and how we are now sometimes doesn't indicate or is just a foundation of what God is going to do in our lives. Sometimes we don't see it because we're so consumed with where we are now. Jacob, and even when we talk about Joseph now, they could be content. They're in a land, even though it says the strange land of his father, but they don't have any issues really going on. They're prospering. They're content. Um, but if you're looking at it from the eyes of God, they could be at a point where they're stagnant. And it really is, because that's why they have to move from this land, go into the land of bondage. And we know the famine is going to come, only come back to the same land, which is going to be flowing with milk and honey. When God starts working on us, even though we may not be, and we are not where God would want us to be at the present time, we may feel we're at a good time. God has to now take us through some situations to get us where He declared we should be flowing overflow, walking in abundance, exceedingly and abundantly more. So get prepared for going through some things. Right now, it may be areas where we're content, we feel, we're walking in the blessings of the Lord, and we are. But because of what God's going to do in us, there's some other things He has to move mission and comfort zone, get us to where He really wants us to be, and He has to take us through some things to get there.
And that's a very true point. That you mentioned that sometimes we're content, and some of the things that or issues or situations or circumstances that arise in our lives at the moment, we probably don't think about. The first thing I'm sure we probably don't think about is like, okay, this is a test from God. We're thinking about, the natural side, the woe is me, why me, a lot of times. And I can definitely attest to that, because he's working on some things within me, and also some tests that I'm about to go through. So just wanting to throw that out there. I know that he's testing me,
And
not
if you
me per se, but testing my faith.
yeah, and stretching you,
Yes.
it's so we can look at it as a test, but you don't really test your faith. What you really do is build it, stretch it, and
There
go
you
beyond
go. Yeah.
what you're accustomed to, and what you've done past. What you've done in the past should be a foundation to have the faith to know that I wasn't even prepared for what He took me through before. So I didn't get me through that. God got me through. And that's where we have to now rely on God to take us through the next obstacle. He just needs us to stand and see His
Right.
salvation. Okay, but getting back to this, also in verse 2, it says, and these are the generations of Jacob, Joseph being 17 years old. So it highlights his age. He's 17. All right. And when we 17, we thinking, okay, man, you getting that threshold, and hey, you about to get out the house anyway. Nowadays, or I know that's what I told mine in their days. But anyhow, so there's going to be a transition that's going on. But it identifies, number one, Joseph is the baby. He's 17 and he the baby. But it talks about this evil report that he's bringing back to his daddy. And there's always one that's going to tell on everybody else. So it's not an evil report like with Job. Hey, you lost your kids, you lost your children, your livestock, you lost everything. It's not that type of evil report, but it's an evil report in the fact that he's really snitching. He's talking about what the other brothers are doing. Where they should be, looking out for one another. Joseph is coming back, telling everything. So there's a reason why the other brother um, have a disdain for him. They ain't got, they love him, but they ain't got a whole lot of love. If we could put it in that context. So when you were talking about he's hated, there's things that bring that on. He's snitching on them, number one. So
Hmm.
everything that they doing. Then in verse 3 it says, and Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, his all his other children, because he was the son of his old age. So the Bible tries to put it on his old age as well. But then Joseph does some things to, kind of gain him some points. Anybody got some points, that they want to get from their parents? I ain't gonna ask how you got them, but points are good to have, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, all right. And then he made him a coat of many colors. So not only is Joseph a snitch, not only did the other brethren see that, daddy likes him best because he the last one, he the baby of the bunch, now he also gives him this coat of many colors. So there's layers that goes on to this. It's kind of probably pricking at the brothers, when they see all of this stuff. He telling everything, daddy already likes him because he the baby. We supposed to look out for him when we go do our thing. He got to tag along, but yeah, he the one telling daddy what we doing when we out there. And now daddy got the nerve to give him a coat. He ain't gave me no coat. or or we get the raggedy coats. He got a coat that just shines. There you go. So that's a little bit of it. And then when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers. Okay, let's throw this out there. And I don't know if any of us know how much we're loved compared to our brothers or our sisters. But when you notice that daddy or mama loves somebody more than they love how do you think that can make you feel? We know what these brothers did. We know how they felt. But anybody else got some feelings towards that?
Just like today's families. That's the challenge. When you got a family of 3 or 4 siblings, most of the time it's the younger one that's the
Mm.
favorite. I mean, we don't want to say it. They don't mean we don't. That's stupid real. And you cannot have two of anything and not show favor to the other one more than the other. You can have 2 cars or 3 cars. You gonna favor one a little bit more than the other. And that's the bottom line. And we're here, you know, some mothers, they say, I love all my kids the same. Nah, no, you don't. You just want to admit there's one you're gonna favor. That's right, I swear. That's one you're gonna favor more. And that's the truth of the matter. You love them, yes. But
Yeah.
one of them have a little special way to your heart that the other ones don't have. That don't mean you won't give them the same way you give the rest of them. But it's one of them that can touch your heart when you go a little extra mile. And that's the
Okay.
And
truth.
I agree, and I agree. But sometimes in the family also, even though the one child might be favored more, but they're doing the all they're doing more for the one that's might be on the wrong going on in the wrong direction or whatever. Even though that child is favored, they're still doing more for another child, if you get what I'm saying, to help them get on track, because the one that's favored, pretty much in most cases, they're usually already on the right track and doing what they're supposed to do
So I'm
in
going to
some
chime in
cases.
on this one.
In some cases.
Go ahead, Keisha.
So I would, it's like for me, I can't necessarily say I have a favorite child because
Because they rich you
yeah,
right now.
well, no, because there's things about Jalen that I love. There's things about Julian that I like or love, but I
Hey.
don't, but in both of them, there's some good and there's some bad. But my thing is, I try not to show that
Okay.
because the kids can pick that up, and that's unfortunate because they can tell if you're trying to treat them a little differently, and then you have to explain, okay, look, hey, this is what's going on, this is their time, so you try to keep the playing field even. That's what I try to do. I'll put it that way.
Thank you for that, Miss Keisha.
The truth of the matter, all we got to do is just ask the kids who do mama favor more. Or who daddy favor more. I
And
promise you,
they would say both of them.
they won't say both of them.
But that's
Yes,
her
they do.
case. She's speaking in hers.
They'll tell you the truth. Who's the favorite?
Um, and that's and all of those are the things that we deal with. You know, loving them, but maybe treating one a little differently than the other, doing a little extra for one versus the other or the others. And Roz, you said one of the things that again is on the area of leadership. Remember when they said, you spend more time, with those that that doing bad, you spend about 85% of your time with those who do bad, 15% with those that are really doing good. Because the ones that's doing bad, you're trying to correct, you're trying to encourage, you're trying to shift some things, to change some stuff, build them up, get them to see the light, walk a straighter line. So you spend a lot more time with those that you're trying to correct and want to see more out of versus those that, again, are on the right path and doing the right thing. And even that would maybe seem to have one feel that even the one that's doing bad, they could feel is loved more
Mhm.
because how much time is spent with sometimes it's material things that's given that makes someone feel that you're loved more or loved less. Sometimes the time that's spent with them. Sometimes, again, it's whatever their perspective is. And from a parent's perspective, what we should be doing is again loving them all the same. Um, but even one that is favored with us, not really displaying it to make the others feel bad. And you always do it, no, justified. Hey, this one's older, that's why they get a little bit more. You'll get older and you'll get some more. We've come up with some stuff, to try to justify the things that we do when we do some things. The one that's more mature, you always want to put in, you're in charge, when I'm older. Well, yeah, but you always, doing wrong, and I don't know how whatever works in your household works. Those are different scenarios of our children can view how they feel they're loved. And it may not really have nothing to do with how they actually love them, but from the children's perspective, that's how they may feel. And this is what we're dealing with Joseph, the perspective that the other children are having. And I think it's kind of justified. The word tells us that he loves them most. So, it ain't like we can really dispute it. But, these are the things that we have to consider, in our own households. Okay, verse 4 says, and when his father saw, when the brothers saw it, I think we went over that, their father loved him more than all his brothers. They hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. Now, and that's rough, because daddy or mama shows you more, children don't even want to talk to you. Y'all used to hang out, you work together, go to school together. Now they don't even want to talk to you. Or when they do talk to you, they're always talking about, I'm gonna get you. Wait till mom and daddy's gone. You gonna get it. And it's one thing when you ain't got but one brother or one sister that's doing that. When you got a football team coming after you, that's some trouble right there. You got 11 brothers, you the baby boy. And if the sisters are getting involved, you really got it. But anyway, we're gonna drive on because it gets better than this, because now it's not only that the brothers are favored, with the daddy, and Roz, you said it, with Israel. Now God's getting involved, and now gonna show some stuff. So God even is now working on who He's looking at. Anybody got a problem with God looking at anybody differently?
Not at all.
I got one.
Well, we always say favor ain't fair. Don't we say that?
That's what we say. I just want to make sure.
And God is the same way. He said, Esau have I loved, Jacob have I hated, which means love less. But God himself don't love everybody the same. Because he said so.
But does he show it?
So what?
Does he show it?
Did Joseph have favor? Well,
I'm just asking. Yo. I come in peace.
Joseph? He shows with anybody he wants to. He said the favor is his. He the spirit
Okay.
which way he wants to.
Because in the church now, do we get upset with folks that might be more favored of God?
Absolutely. Well, not of God. No.
Hey, I'm just asking.
If you
They
see someone,
shouldn't anyways. They shouldn't.
if you see someone, or you appear to think they are more blessed than you are, you see them getting the new houses, the new cars, the new jobs. God is doing this,
Right.
and there are people that get jealous over what God is doing for you, even in. Yes, sir.
Because it might be some of those that we look at as not always doing the right thing. So why is God blessing them like that?
Like Joseph Brothers.
Hey, Keisha, you ain't got nothing to say on this one?
But they're on the outside looking in too. They don't know what God is taking them through.
It don't matter.
Right.
You are absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But people don't look at the justification of it. Yeah, because if they have to justify, that means that they have to look at themselves as not doing what they ought to be doing, could be doing, should be doing. And nobody wants to, how many people are really honest with themselves to look at somebody else advancing in God while they staying where they at? We should, but the reality is we not. Keisha would have chimed in on that, but I'm sure she's flipping something right now. But we're going to keep it moving. So in verse 5, it says, and Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. So they already didn't want to talk to him. But now he getting spiritual on them. now the Lord is working with him and revealing some gifts and some insight unto him. And Joseph, again, is still in this state of being naive where, even though the Bible talks about his brothers already speaking, um, unpeaceably unto him, he still wants to share stuff with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good brother. How can you be upset with someone like that? That no matter how bad you treat them, despitefully use them, maybe? How are we supposed to entreat them? Love them? Joseph goes right back. Hey, God showed me this. Want to share this with y'all. And we getting in there talking, boy, I can't wait until if I get this, I'm gonna wring his neck. I'm gonna pull his tongue out his mouth. He won't say nothing else. Or he think he really dreaming. Wait till I put the lights out. So they really got it in for him. And this is it when God is elevating us and we still want to share with our brothers and sisters. And they really start looking at us cockeyed, funny, like, who do you think you are? Man, I'm just sharing with you what God told me. I can't share this with you. How many people do we shut down? Because now, and this is how we justify it. Now they think they so much. That's what they think. All they did was share with you what God has showed them. And now you thinking they think or as we say sometimes in the natural, now they so uppity. Now they bougie. Now they just better than us. I'm just sharing with you what God showed me because this is going to work for all of us. And y'all too consumed with thinking I'm the one doing any of this. It's about me. And all I'm doing is sharing with you what God wants to do for us. And he can't use y'all. Not that Joseph is saying this, or we when we're sharing this, but there's a reason why God's using me instead of y'all. Why don't y'all look at it from that perspective? If we really want to be real. But can we be real in the church? Can we really be that honest? Because truthfully, I wish God would use them. I would have no problem with it. But when he ain't using them and he still want to get his word out, can we just shut up? No. Because there's one thing he know about us. We ain't got no problem telling it. Not like Joseph did, running back to his daddy and snitching. No, but we ain't got no problem sharing the word. Because though it may fall on some stony ground or amongst some thorns and thistles, there's going to be some good soil that's going to receive it. And as we said, I'm putting those notes. When he talking about pouring out the Spirit upon all flesh, yeah, all flesh ain't going to be able to hold it, though. There's going to be certain ones that's going to get elevated, that's going to receive, and that's going to be able to use. Everybody ain't going to go in. All right, look to your right. Some of them ain't going up. That is the truth of it. But it's not our choice on who does. That's just the reality. And we just have to speak the truth. Y'all got quiet on me. Y'all got something.
No, you're speaking the truth, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, James. I can depend on you.
I think it's easy sometimes for people to get more concerned with the vessel who's bringing it than receiving what the message is. Liking it with Joseph and his brothers. It was contention already because he's already favored by his daddy. Like my family, I got a couple of 5 brothers and 2 sisters, and the baby brother, my brother Jeffrey, I always tell him he was mom's favorite. No, you was mom's favorite. No, you was mom's favorite. So we have that little thing we do when we get together. Only he was mom's favorite. But anyway, it's like the older brothers are much older than Joseph because he's 17, which Chris just spoke about, which means his other brothers had to be 5 to 10 years older than Joseph, which means they was already working with their dad before Joseph came on the scene. Most of the time, the elders of the children catch it the hardest, workload-wise, being more stern with. Dad is harder on the older sons because he expects more out of them as a dad. But as dad gets older now and in years, he started easing up a little bit. With my last 2 brothers, he was still the same. Now he'll crack a whip in a minute now, but he let some stuff go that we couldn't have got away with. And so we always say the last 2 of the boys were spoiled. Got it in easy. My dad was no longer farming when they was growing up in age, which means they had to get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and work till 6 in the evening, like the majority of the older ones did. So with Joseph contention there because his brothers, like they treated him because they saw him, being favored by his dad, get the coat of many colors. Like you said, sir, they got ragged clothes on their head, nothing new in years. So why do you always get this thing? So it's contention there. So if you're already older than your youngest brother, most people got the mindset is, Joseph, you can't tell me nothing. Oh, you can tell me something about life when I'm living life and I'm 12, 15 years older than you. So therefore, because of the contention within them already, it'd probably be difficult for them to receive something from him, even though it's true.
Yeah.
Because they're looking more at the vessel. Because they so close to him, they can't receive what he's saying.
Yeah, they hate him. They already hate him. So no matter what you say.
But that's where we are today. It doesn't matter. It's just what both of you said. It doesn't matter what the word is that they're bringing. The person, if the person bringing it, if the person bringing it, they already don't like you or have this certain perspective about you, the word is not going to reach them.
True, but this is the other side of that.
The other side of it.
when God knows that that's where you are, he's still going to fulfill what he said. He going to bring the word to you. He already know you ain't going to receive it. But now you can now see, or hopefully see, why you end up in the situations you end up in. Because the word would have got you out, but you're too consumed with it. I know from a ministry perspective is always saying, well, it's how you deliver it and everything else. And I just have a different view on that because, again, we can't make anyone like us. But if we go in the right manner and in the right attitude, again, folks can hate us without a cause. They hated Jesus without a cause. And God was going to do a he's going to view things from the perspective of the hard-headed one that don't want to receive the vessel, but also wants to see if the vessel is going to still go,
Exactly.
despite how they know someone may even feel about it.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole irony about ministry. Will you go even though you know how people may? Now, when we talk about Jonah, Jonah said, well, because they may change. So that's why he didn't want to go. So so there's different perspectives of it. But if we go in the right attitude, right intentions, and the right manner to do God's will, the buffers up there or the wall that's up there is not our wall. And the wall may be up there because God don't want it to come down. But he just wants people to be even as Lazarus was when he found himself, in Hades, with that gulf in between. You had the opportunity, but here you are, because you wouldn't want to stiff necked, you were hard headed. You couldn't receive. From the time of Moses, the time of Jesus, the same way. And here we are beyond Jesus, still with Jesus, and we still gonna have the same type of people with us. But our job is to go forth with that word. Again, going in the right manner with the right attitude that hopefully we can reach. Because God's still gonna give them that opportunity. And hopefully they'll receive. But if not, he's giving them the opportunity. But we're going to get back to these brothers. Okay, verse 6, it says, and he said unto them, hear, I pray you, this dream which I have. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field. Again, that's where they started out. They were in the field together. And lo, my sheep arose and also stood upright. And behold, your sheep stood round about and made obeisance unto my sheep. And his brethren said to him, shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou, and this is what you was talking about, James, earlier. Why am I going to listen to you? You the little runt of the litter here. Who are you to tell me all of this? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? Aren't we all supposed to have dominion? But anyway, we're going to keep it moving. They hated him yet. How much hate can you have for a person? And they hated him yet more for his dreams and for his words. Oh my gosh.
Well, can I ask a question, sir?
Yes, sir.
I always love sometimes to be on the other side of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
Did God ask him or instruct him to share his dream? Because we know you can't share your dreams and your vision with everybody. Did God say to Joseph after he dreamed that dream, now go ahead and share this with your brother and them and your dad and them? Or did he himself decide to? I'm trying to put my mind in the mind of Joseph. This 17-year-old cocky joker Innocent as we say he is, a reader he is.
Mm-hmm.
Because he already know his brothers can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
So to add insult to injury, salt on the open wound. Just done told you a day or so ago, and all of a sudden now you gonna show you something. And the first thing you do when you get up in the morning is I would say go to Pickett and started, sharing his dream. I mean, I'm not saying that the brothers was justified, this and that, but you can't share your dreams with everybody.
And that point is true, sir. So you're true with that. But now let's look at the characteristics of Joseph. Do we need to go back to verse 1? What do we already know about Joseph? He tells everything. He's a snitch. He ain't got no problem talking. So did God need to tell him? No. This is what he do. This is who he is. And this is one of the reasons why I brought that up. So one of the reasons why they already hate him. He gonna tell everything. Ain't nothing you can do around him he talk about. But if that's your characteristic, just like some of us have different things we grew up doing. We were strong in what we did, in the wrong, Paul. And now that you're walking in the right, should you not walk in that same manner of strength? So if your strength is to tell everything, if I show you something, why should you be quiet? Yeah, you can't share it with everybody, true. But if it's your nature to tell, you gonna tell. And that's the expectation of God. God know who he can use. So this wasn't just about Joseph. This is still trying to deal with those brothers he got to show them. Because they the ones that don't want to receive. They got that wall up. I'm not gonna receive nothing from him. He's too young. Who he think he is? He ain't got no experience. He ain't been around here long enough to be able to tell me nothing. He ain't even had nothing yet. Here he go trying to give me advice. Now he's showing me these sheep. What we missed in this though. It says they talking about my sheaves and your sheaves. First thing the brothers say is, should you have dominion over us? He talking sheaves, but they got enough insight to know what he talking about. What makes you think Joseph had that insight? Because that ain't what he said. But when the brothers heard it, what they came back and said, are you going to have dominion over us? See, we miss that sometimes. Joseph didn't say nothing like that. He talking sheaves, leaves, fanning each other. My leaf is going to be stronger than your leaf. And they already talking about, oh, so you trying to say you going to have, I just share with you my dream. My dream wasn't that I had dominion over you. So did not the brothers have a little insight? Ain't it something when you can share something with somebody and their perception of what you're saying gives them a greater insight than what you're even thinking of? And they can hate you even the more for some stuff you're not even thinking of. So he had to say it so God could reveal it to them. And now they're looking at him with more hatred of some stuff he's not even aware of yet. Ain't that something? We could tell somebody something from the perspective of what God gave us, but God is going to also give them a different perspective of what we're saying that's going to show them where we're going to be or what we're going to do, and we don't even have an idea of it yet. Walking in our innocent self, telling everything, because we don't have to hold nothing. Yeah, that's awesome. And it's something we were talking last week, I think, when we were talking about Paul and Timothy, about when that leader, or you have someone that can encourage you or build you up into something. Wouldn't it have been something if they could receive that word and been able to tell to Joseph, you have no idea how the Lord is about to use you. He's showing you this thing dealing with plants. And yet what he's really trying to show you is you going to have dominion over people. And yes, it might even be us. Could we receive something like that if someone brought that kind of news to us, where God gives us the insights? Oh, you know what? Oh my gosh, that means God's going to take you to such heights where I'm going to support you and be under you. Am I so jealous or so hateful that I don't want you to rise up? Because God ain't raising me up. Because if he was raising me up, he wouldn't show me you being raised above me. And we never look at it that perspective. We so caught up in us, what God ain't doing in us, that we don't want to see nobody else achieve. It's a sad thing. I'm sorry, y'all. I know this has got to be a heavy morning here. I know we didn't think it was going to go this way. We thought this was just going to be a simple story about Joseph going into prison. And he ain't even got there, but he's in prison in his own home, dealing with his own family. Which prison is actually worse?
I think being in your own home, because these are the people that's supposed to love you. When you're in prison, hey, I hope you just beat them unless y'all have been in there before. But the people that's supposed to love you, supposed to cover you, supposed to be there for you, supposed to be your ride or die, and they hate you the most.
Hey, his mouth got him in both prisons.
Well,
his mouth got him into both prisons.
Yeah. And whose fault is that? As we always say, well, God knows me. He the one gave it to me. So hey,
God, he gives us wisdom.
He's 17.
He should know better. Hey, I could have just imagined with my brothers though, growing up, and the many disagreements we had at our little level. It won't to the point we hated each other after the disagreement or the one or two fights we may have had. We love each other. Hey, you couldn't, we would fight each other, but you couldn't, no one else could fight us.
Mm-hmm.
We got there because we family, But it's certain things, man, it's like when you mature in things, you come from a different approach when it comes to giving out a message or something somebody's showing you. Now, we don't know if Joseph, came truly with spirit of humbleness, or he just came kind of cocky, just want to tell some stuff to set these jokers off. You think this way, could it not have received him? I mean, had like a personal relationship where you had respect one for another, I'm pretty sure they would receive it much more easier than they did with him.
I hear you. I hear you, James.
I disagree.
Explain.
Well, we hope that.
I
We hope
disagree because they can visibly see the favoritism from from his father.
That's why they hated him the more.
that. Well, what
Correct.
he's saying
That's
is
why they're not going to
Joseph.
receive it.
Well, what he's saying is when Joseph had this dream, did Joseph come in there, like big and bad, like, hey,
No,
if
I
just
don't
go-
think so. I think Joseph was just a vessel being used to get them, like Apostle White said, to bring down their wall.
Yeah, but that's why I also said we got to watch our approach and our mannerism. But James, we're gonna go back to the scripture. I'm gonna show you how he went in with him. So you know he wasn't cocky when he went in. Verse 6 says, and he said unto them, hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. Now, when you throw prayer in there, he said, I pray you, please just hear me out. I pray you, hear me out. So he wasn't going in trying to be cocky about anything. He just went in with the right attitude. And going back to your point, we can't share our dream with everybody. But in this situation, Joseph is just sharing his dream with those he still want to get on his side. He ain't trying. He's tired of being hated and talked about. You know, coming up against. He don't even want that. So he's just approaching them in a manner where he's like, "Look, y'all, pray. I pray. Just hear me out. Just hear what I've been shown. I just want to share this with you." He didn't see the extent of what his brothers were going to see. He just talking about plants, and yet they got the perspective. They got the again insight. They got the revelation of what all of this was talking about. You know, and we have those things that go on now. You know, we go to pastor. I had a dream. Can you interpret this? Can you tell me what this means? You know, he didn't have no idea. And I'm putting it on his age because there's awesome that's mature there. But you know, when you're the baby and you got 11 big brothers, you know, when you're 17, you know, you probably ain't too grown at that point in time. Because you got so many others that were doing so much stuff with you, against you, you know, as you were growing up, that there's a lot of different perspectives that you're probably walking in, a lot of different ways that you're viewing things. But when you get to the point that they all hate you and all you've been trying to do was again fit in, he's still trying to fit in your church. How do we people that's just trying to fit in that God wants to use, or those that they say God's trying to use? You know, we still got to be wise now when it comes to that. But I think it's different in the church than it is with your own family. But it's more so in the church where we have to recognize and acknowledge these things, because this is what God is really trying to show us, work within us, and take us all at the same time. We're in a home, we're just trying to be a unit. We're just trying to be together. But ain't we supposed to be that in the church as well? Which one is going to be easier or should be easier? To work things out in your family or to work things out in the church? I'm just throwing that question out there just for different perspectives. Which do y'all really think should be easier? Church or family? Now in the church we call each other family. But which one do you really think it should be easier to work things out? I see eyes rolling.
I'm going to say it should be easier in your family. And I say that because these are the people that you grew up with that supposedly should know you.
Okay.
That's why I say that. In the church, yes, we call ourselves family, but do we really know our brothers and our sisters at the end of the day? You know,
Oh,
do
okay.
we really know?
You
know
hold that thought, Roz. You hold that thought. Go ahead, James.
To me, it should be your church family. Reason being is you all are supposed to be saved Christians. When you accept Jesus, and you look about forgiveness.
Okay.
From a spiritual perspective, it should be easy
Oh,
in the church setting
okay. I like that.
because of we are Christians and we're believers and we know what the word say. Everybody in your family is not saved, which means that even though you grew up together, there's people that grew up together, brothers and sisters, for some reason or another, ain't speaking to this day.
And it's the same in the church. So how can you say that's easier?
The church,
Well,
it should not be so.
it should be easier, church. It should be truthfully, spiritually.
Yes.
If we're all walking in the spiritual light.
And that's the key.
Well, but we're supposed to be though.
Yes.
See, at home, we're in the natural light. That's where we let our hair down. That's where we cut loose. But I'm a bring it to you scripturally.
Mhm.
And again, this doesn't solidify anything. I was just asking for a perspective. I don't know why Keisha don't keep chiming in, but I'm gonna get on her. But doesn't the Bible say something about those of your own family and your own household to be your what? Those are gonna be your foes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your own family, your own household. Those are your own country and your own land. The church, it should not be so. But
It's
to your point, Ross, but it is. That's the problem in the church. We come in at the spiritual house with our natural mind. There shouldn't be no hate in the church, but is there? Not that we see. You know, we don't see it. Wink, wink.
You hope you don't, anyways.
You know, not in the church. Everybody in the church is on one accord, one body, one
wink,
mind. That's the church. Ain't why are you cutting your eyes up? And that's what we contend with. And that's what has our God still trying to work so much out because the way we ought to be in the church is not how we are.
Yep.
And we're going to have to leave it at that point because our time is up. So we're going to give them over. But, you know, and we never did get to the verse you wanted to open up with.
No. But Joseph, he has a lot of layers. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to do it in one session for sure.
Yeah, there's some layers there. But it really shows us our layers, but also the church layers.
Mm-hmm.
And that this is what it's all about. The things that we would never think or we believe ought not be. That's why so many people get offended with church because they say, you know, I found this at home, I found this at work, I found this, you know, in my relationships, and I came to the church and I found the same thing there. That's why the church gets a bad rap. And I can't even say it's a bad rap. That's just the reality. Because you run into people in the church. And we walk in thinking everybody in the church is churchy, and they are not. Hold on, Keisha might be trying. Oh, okay. She was offline all this time. Okay. So, and that's what, again, rubs people the wrong way. And they've been, again, overlooked, abused, misused, treated a certain type of way, on the outside, and then they feel same thing when they come in the church side. And though it ought not be, it very well is. Full of people. All right. So Keisha, any thoughts you want to add in before we close out?
No, sir, not right now.
Did you hear all of this, Keisha?
Not all. Bits and
Okay.
pieces.
No problem. All right. Just wanted to make sure. All right. So any of you got any closing thoughts? We'll continue with Joseph next week. There's a lot to go. Now we ain't gonna read all of these chapters, but once he gets in captive, then we could shoot back over to where he's at in Egypt, where he goes through some more stuff. So we'll get to all that. Any final thoughts from either you, James, Roz?
No, sir.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You good? Okay. Well, we thank y'all for joining us today. Again, this is our Disciple Talk, where we come discussing the word and applying our life situations and circumstances, our insights, our perspectives to discuss the word and see if we can walk out with greater insight, revelation of the word, that again, we could be pleasing in God's sight. Again, we come to discuss the word Saturday mornings for a preach word. If you have time available, Sunday mornings, 10 a.m., the Jesus Peace Ministries.org. Our pastor, Apostle Dr. James W. McGrady Jr. will come forth with the preach word of God. We appreciate you joining in with us on today. Follow us again. Well, not again, but happy Father's Day to all who are maybe fathers out there. We love you. God bless you. We'll see you next week.